Or this HR person. They have created some of the record here. So the record like ABC. Your XYZ and PQR. So, while this information, this ABC user, I'll be bringing to you, Savient right. Through the user import. Or we call it as a trusted recon right. Trusted recon. So through the trusted recon right, I'll be mentioning what a learn parameter or user information I want to bring. So the user information here might be right, your first name right. This user last name. This user will have also your email address might be right. Or this user information might have your, object, GUID. So this object GUID is nothing but your unique ID of your each record. So these are some of the information right, which I should bring to your Savient. So to bring back the JSON I'm preparing. So you should mention all this attribute, whatever matching attribute of your HRMAs or AD. Let's say my AD first name, FN, right. It matches with my Savient first name. So that is how you should map here. So here you can see I'm mapping the display name, the right side display name right. It is a string right. The left side of this value, this didn't determine it, or this, represent your Savient, and the right side represent your Active Directory attribute. So I'm mentioning the Active Directory attribute of display name. It should go to display name. Attribute of my Savient. So the same way, right. I'm also telling the distinguished name of my Active Directory. It should store in the comments field. So these all left side field right, which are already present in your Savient system, right. So when I do the integrate or I do the user, import all the value for the user. Let's say, I have the user first name, right? So you can find the first name. It will be here. So the first name attribute or the last name attribute should bring to the respective column or a strip will fill name of your access now. So that thing we need to mention here. Okay. So this CN value right. So I'm passing to the custom property 1. So what I feel we have present for a user first we should know that. So in our Active Directory for a user, what will feel that present? So, if you look that right, so this is your Active Directory. Let me close this one. So now this is actually a Windows 2022 server. So if you required any Active Directory to install of your own, so you always require a server edition. So what? Normally we are using your day-to-day basis. We are using Windows 10, Windows 11, right? So these are some of the version we are using, but that is it's a end-user version or you can say normal version. So there, we cannot install our directory. So this is a 2022 version of your server edition and here if you click on the start menu right. And you see there is a server manager. Basically this server manager. It is the server residing where your Active Directory is residing. So this Active Directory, click on adding role and feature and your Active Directory will install. And on top of that, once you install your Active Directory, it will ask you to promote the server. So that's a different, separate right topic, right? So close this one, simple what you can do. Click on this menu right. And where we are going to be the Active Directory. Open this one again. Write this Server Manager right. Once you open this, click on this tool and go to your Active Directory user and computers. Active Directory users and computer. Open this one. Right. So once you open that, you see we have a domain here called Savient. So this Savient, basically this is your, base domain, or you call it as a like. It is your initial forest. Under that you can see, we have computers also there, right? We are users also there. So this users and computer. These are, where all your users' information are stored. So this is one kind of it is. You can say this is one of the directory where I am storing the information. So you will see there is an admin user right or administrative user is there. So let me create some of the user here. So in the scene user, right click here. And click on new, then click on user. So I'll give the user first name, as some Kevin and. What is the last name? I'll give some Swan. So this is one user. What will be the logon name for the user? I'll give. So basically let me provide KSWN, so some login ID I'm giving here. And this will be, at the red.com. But even this is your domain name. Click on next to provide some default password without password. You cannot create a user in your Savient, in your Active Directory. So I gave some of the user password information. Click on next and finish it. So we have some of the users right. I created a Kevin already. We have some test users saving 2001002. So this is actually how the Savient your activity looks. If you want to have a better look, view the trail extractor right. You can follow a simple install the Apache directory software. It's a browser actually, so that browser it will help you to access. Active Directory. Come on, where did it go? So I believe here you have your Apache directory documents. Go to this folder. Open the Apache directory where I presented to Studio. And this is your Apache Directory Studio application, open it. So once you open it right, it will ask you to configure your Active Directory here, because this is a normal browser where you can view your Active Directory, users and computer information. So you can create a connection right. So right-click this connection or you have to go right-click and new connection once you give the connection right. You have to give a connection name. Let's say, I'm giving ad. And what is the host name? Basically to connect this activity application right. So if you look this app, this Active Directory, it is installed on this machine itself, not other place, right? So this is the own machine where it is storing. So let me type the cmn command and get me the IP address of the machine. Okay, the default port. Always it will be 3 and 8, 9. When you configure your Active Directory, you can change the default port and this is your non-SSL port. So there is two port, one is SSL, another is your non-SSL. So SSL port, if you're using that is away, best secured and some certification it is also required. So I'm just covering here your non-SSL port. Okay, because I am not that much of great in Active Directories. We installing certificate. We can manage from save inside, but from Active Directory if you want to make it as SSL. So your Active Directory team has to generate a certificate. Okay. So here I'm using it, non-SSL port. There's 389.